Right? Come in. Sensei, need it? どうぞお願いします、先生。
Hey, どうぞお願いします。
先生、need it? こんばんは、先生。
How's it going, everybody? How'd you guys enjoy your trip to Naha Thursday?
Good. It was really fun. It was a good class.
Yeah, I asked them, I said, hey, I said, what do you normally do? I guess that's kind of the stuff they normally do. I said, and he said, well, my guys are kind of bored because, they didn't get quite a hard workout. And I said, well, if you want a piece of advice, how about, just say, do you have a mental block? Okay, and then just go. I said,
Yeah.
when he said the voice, like, do you guys do my Gary? I'm like, do we do front kicks?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut, just say hi. I tried to gently move him on, and I was like, you don't need to teach us Goju, just lead us in the workout. We can handle it. So anyway, but yeah, it was just kind of interesting to see, kind of the little things they were talking about, little things he was wanting to do. So that's what I was wondering. Like, clearly tonight is not a good example. But what do you think about taking the stretching, the warm-ups offline?
I mean, I'm fine with that. It's 6 of one, half dozen of another. To me, would give us more class time.
There's that. Yeah, part of me goes, we have more class time, vice the, how many people are, kind of getting it all together to warm up before class. I mean, so.
Yeah.
Noodle on that. B, any thoughts?
I agree. I think, we didn't have warm-ups at the Hombu. At 2 of my other dojo, I never did warm-ups in class. You were expected to show up.
That's because I care about you.
I know. You gotta make sure we don't get injured.
Well,
right.
The only other thing I would say is if there's a prescribed order of warm-ups or that's part of the test, depending on who's in class, it would be useful to do that so that everyone knows what they are. Mm-hmm. I think it's beneficial for white belts who have not, that are new. But as of now, all of our white belts have been through it at least once, and so they know what it is. But like on testing nights or something like that, where you're testing leadership skills or knowledge of the format and stuff, we do it in class, a full kind of thing. But it might be worth being something that everyone's responsible to do beforehand and know the order of, such that if you ask somebody to do it in class, they can do it without being told.
That's a good point. Just teach them these are warm-ups you should do before class, and then go, can you demonstrate that the warm-ups you do before class? Okay, that's cool. That was just kind of in my noggin. Speaking of which, skeletons. And say yes.
I mean, that's what we always did growing up.
Back in the middle, say no.
Coming up was, you get there in enough time to dress out and get warmed up before class started, and then we would always start with basics.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now, the commute's even so good that I will take it around.
And what that also means is if everybody's warmed up beforehand, we can go back to doing full sets of basics.
Right.
Instead of the
half set. Yep. Nice middle, arm out. I had all this stuff kind of set up in the garage, take it across to kind of class out there, because that way I'd have a heavy bag and I could demonstrate hitting and stuff right there. Well, the heater just doesn't cut it out there.
It's still pretty cold outside.
It's pretty cool. How'd you guys survive Armageddon, Snowmageddon? Take it a
Where
course?
am I from?
Awesome.
I took pictures of it and sent it to my friends in Montreal, going like, the snowplow should be coming through any moment now. And then I took a picture the next morning and they're like, look how good they did. It's all gone. Heel down, finger up.
I mean, I told my dad it was snowing like it snowed back home. We had a chuckle, and that was it.
It did get pretty in the afternoon. It did. Pretty impressive. Switch.
Yeah, big fat wet flakes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like,
Every
wow,
house, you can tell which houses have kids.
Yeah.
And even some that don't.
Yeah.
Switch.
All of my coworkers in Ohio were making fun of all of us Austinites for being excited over snow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all our Minnesotians were like, whatever. As you get
Yep.
take it around.
Well, when I had the foresight to think ahead because I order food a lot through like DoorDash or Grubhub or whatever, and I was like, if the weather is as bad as they say it is, I bet there won't be any drivers out delivering stuff. So I'm gonna make sure that I got stuff at home I can eat.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking of. It wasn't that bad. Breathe in, breathe out. Oh, sorry, chicken peckers.
Oh. Chicken peckers. I didn't know this was an adult class.
Okay.
That's what happens when you get the senior belts.
By the way, if you haven't started watching Warrior yet, you're missing out.
I have not, but I did finish Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I forgot to check out that Warrior thing.
I have it in my queue.
What?
It's in my queue.
Yep. The lead actor, the guy that plays Assam, has clearly spent a lot of time studying Bruce Lee, his movements and such. Because if you watch his combat sequences and stuff, and he really has a lot of Bruce Lee's mannerisms.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's also definite homages to, Bruce Lee's films and stuff. Techniques and stuff that he used.
Did I tell you my Bruce Lee close encounter?
No?
There it was. At I can't remember what bar it was. Mind my own business. Doing what one does in a bar, which is drinking. This is in Honolulu, by the way. So there, mind my own business. I go to the bathroom, as is our want when you're drinking lots of beer. I'm standing there gathering my thoughts. I look to my right, and there's Jason Scott Lee, star of Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh crap, you're Jason Scott Lee. He's like, hey, how's it?
He's like, can I just finish my pee, please?
Yeah, and I was like, what's going on? He's like, blah, blah. So we talked, we made small talk. And then I just peed with Bruce Lee, so to speak. So anyway, that was my thing. Is like, of all the places you think you would see Bruce Lee, the bathroom.
Sorry.
But that was Bruce Lee, L.I. So
Exactly. So whatever. All right, bring it in. Now, touch the ground. It was startling. I've run into various and sundry famous type people. That's the first time I've ever run into one in the bathroom.
Well, you know what that children's book says? Everybody poops.
That's right. Even the video dragon. I don't know. He didn't really look anything like Bruce Lee. So I don't know where they were going, but coming up.
Well, his last name is Lee, so
I guess so.
good enough.
Yeah, in Hawaii, they couldn't find another guy with the last name Lee.
Right?
Here's a fun little factoid for you. It is Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, that is playing on the TV in Fast and the Furious when they have their little movie night.
Oh, yeah?
You know, Mia tells Paul where he can take her on their date.
Hmm.
There you go. Now you know. You have a fun trivia fact.
Sorry, you sure. There you go, X kicks. Rich, and the next time you watch that, you can go, my sensei peed with that guy.
Well, you heard that old joke, right? About John Wayne is in a bar and, you know, talking to his friend and goes to the bathroom, comes out and he's all soaking wet. And his friend was like, what happened to you? And he's like, well, you know how it is when you're famous. Like, I went in there to go to the barn or to the bathroom and everybody turned around and was like, it's John Wayne, it's John Wayne, it's John Wayne.
Yeah, but he was tall. It should have just been like at his knees or whatever.
Yeah, well, you know.
So you got it?
I'm not going to impugn anyone else's, you know,
Take it the other way.
abilities or accuracy.
Strive for accuracy and all things. Take a Dutch. Roll your ankle. Hands out. Way bye-bye. Turn them over. Wave, come here. Okay, so on Thursday, after we get done with the warm-up, we'll remind everybody to roll the ball to warm up before class, if at all possible. And then we'll just do like an abbreviated, like 5 reps of everything, warm up, and then off we go. We'll wean, but fingers. I never heard back. I told you to check out the gi. I got an email from a guy who said he trained in Okinawa for a period of time. And he got to, I think he said 7th Q. And now he's living in San Antonio and he's taking Taekwondo. But he wanted to drop in and do some Zoom classes. And I replied to him and said, like, an hour's time? Okay, cool, you know? But I never heard back from him. I said, you know, let me know. I said, the class is this night and this time. Let me know if you want to drop in. And I sent him the link and I haven't heard back from him. So that was like on Sunday.
If you train Kenshinkan, I mean, be like, hey, you know, there's a Kenshinkan dojo in your city. You're welcome to come to ours, but there's also one right there.
Well, I think he's what he's saying is he still wants to do Taekwondo for whatever reason. But he wants to just drop in, and maybe he's being smart and not going into the. But yes, if he wants to do physical classes and whatnot, I'll send him to Lynn for sure. Okay, so one of the things that I was noodling with earlier, talking about our stuff on Thursday, you know, when he's talking, you know, getting your hips and stuff in. What I started to do before class, because instead of warming up, I was thinking about what to do for class, about getting those hips in for your, you know, a nice short. So get into Nigashi Ushiro and, you know, put your dukes up. Okay, and from there you just do the reverse punch. So just think about, you know, engaging that. Keep this hand here, protecting yourself, and just pop it in. But when you're doing this, you know, don't make sure you're not like, you know, reaching and letting that back foot pop out. Okay. Keep it nice and stay loose, right? And then tight, and then come back up.
Hi, Sensei.
Hey,
And visualize that target and do the thing. Let's do a couple of those. Ready? Come on. Hit. Knee. Don't. Shoot. Ew. Don't let your hip break over, you know, past that point, right? Don't get any torque in your knee. Keep everything straight, just like we're doing it when you're taking a step, right? Let that cock come back and make sure those guys are squared up. Switch.
so in this case, seems to make more sense to kind of have the body turned at a 45 to get that hip rotation without over rotating. If you're already square, that means you got to come back and then forward.
Exactly, because I'm going to explain why in just 2 seconds. Right? So switch. Well, not 2 seconds, but however long it takes us to get through this side of the rep. Switch. Knee. Stomp. Sheet. Shoot. Rope. Pitch. Touch. Shoot. Shoot. All right. Hikadatch. So now, so from Hikadatch, we're going to do kind of like those drills we were doing, the eek drills, you know, with our with Fuga each. So same thing is you're going to eek, step back, lock here, and then strike. So the ruffian comes up, messes out, you got to block, strike. So you're keeping that hand up to guard. So you're not going to be kicking back here and then punching. You're going to be like maybe someone pushes you back and you just catch your stance, right? And then you have to generate the power from there. So you really got to kind of kick that in. And you need to, like Wayne Sensei was talking about on Thursday night, about taking that power from the ground, is, you know, you're on the balls of your feet, grab the ground with your toes, and let that weight drop a little bit. You see, you guys have watched Kyle do his technique, and you see how he drops a lot?
Right.
Right, so it's kind of the same thing, only you're not dropping so much. You're dropping just a little bit. And it's just the hip. Right? So, take it up. Hands. Right. Each. Knee. Don't. Sheep. Go. Switch. Hitch. Knee. Don't. Sheep. Go. Switch.
I was rotating between. Sorry.
That's okay. Be an individual, but now it's okay. So 5 on one side, 5 on the other. Wait, you know.
Hey.
Come on. Hit. Knee. Get those hips. Salt. Cheek. Oh. Up. Sitch. Ooh. Hatch. Scoot. Do. Boom. All right. Good deal. All right. So, hang on. Let me get this back over here. Speak with you. All right. Okay. So well, that means I put down yoga mats because there's no give. Coupled with the whole, don't have any mats down right now. My feet were killing me. Although, and remind me to do this at the end of the show, I did a kind of a thing with that. When you step, you're going to cock that back. So to Drew Dash's point, those guys are coming back, and you're coming back just a little bit of a cock, all right? And then, you know, go ahead and get the hula going. Remember, number 1 rule of the dojo is I want to see that obi move. So you come in, so it's, yeah, there's been, and this is a good talking point amongst us senior most martial artists. I've seen the hip power generated 2 ways, or talk about 2 ways. One is you're coming out and then back, right? So the foot that's out rotates out, and then you cock back. So pretty much like you're doing it in the step, you're cocking it back and cocking it back. And then I was training with some guys in Montreal, and they do it the opposite way. So they do, like you're doing that Gyakuzu, your hip actually comes forward, you know, like it's like it's the opposite direction. And he talked me through it, and it kind of worked with. Yeah. So you're just trying to get that wave motion going. So I just want to see a little more hip, B, a little less hip from you, Judansha, and a little more hip from you, B. So let's actually set back down. So get into Migashi Shiro, and you're gonna go ahead and get both those hands active, because on this one you're just gonna, you know, hit it just like you would be doing normally. Come on, hitch, knee, get that ground, pull it up to the ground, stomp. There you go, shoot. Go. There you go, switch, hitch, knee, stomp, shoot, go. Switch. Now open your hands just a little bit. So when you're doing it, you're kind of cocking and firing. So you're loose, loose, tight, loose again. All right.
Nice and tight.
Wait till 5. It's knee. Don't. Cheap. Go. There you go. Switch. Hits. Knee. Don't. Cheap. Go. Switch. I say what I want to make sure you're not doing, well, you can see that, excuse me, remember when you're doing this reverse punch, don't bring that foot up, right? Don't do that number.
Right.
You're not winding up in it. You're still sitting. All right, so remember what's the number rule of the dojo?
Balls of your feet.
Well, yes, but no.
Above your butt.
We operate in close, right? So, you know, you're not going to have to really, you know, reach. That was one of the things that Lynn, since they were talking about kakuke, you know, that he said that, you know, they do it farther out. And there's merit to that, right? But we operate in closer. That's much more of a kumite, one-on-one, toe-to-toe sort of, like, you know, you're trying to get out past their guard to move in, whereas we're more of a they're coming in and they're already here sort of. They're coming to us sort of thing, which I know you guys know. But anyway, so okay. So 5 more. You guys, you sure? And do remember, make sure you're pointing that knuckle. Right?
Nice and tight.
Loose hands, tight hands. Come on, hit. Knee. Don't. Cheat. Go. Switch. Hit. Knee. Don't. Cheat. Go.
Do I get extra credit for my braid swinging too?
Say again?
Do I
Only
get
if it
extra
has a
credit
blade
for my
in it.
braid swinging around too?
Yeah. You got to put a little razor in it so that way you can.
Right.
Only if it has a blade in it. If it doesn't, no credit.
All right. Now on this one, you're going to do the same thing, right? So on this one, you'll be Migashi Shiro. This one, active hands. Lead hand is going to parry down, and your leg is going to come up. Right? So.
Hey.
Boop. So lead hand's going to parry. It's going to come up.
Hey.
And with that, you're going to be here. You're going to parry, move out of the way, and then there's your hip. And then back. Okay. So your combo should be here. 1, 2, and then back. Right?
As I said,
Negashi, sure. So let's do it slow. Much like the guys in Naha, we'll do it slow. Do it slow first. Each. Parry down. Jakuzu. Back. Knee. So. All right. Now we do it fast. Hit. Knee. So. Cheat. Go. Switch. Itch. Knee.
it's terrible.
Oh. I'll fix it in post. Fast. Itch. Knee. So. Sheet. Go. Switch. Did we ever find out what the Japanese word for switch is?
Okay?
Yeah.
Did we ever find out what the Japanese word for switch is?
Okay?
Switch side? Switch side? Or switch?
Okay? You guys make fun of me because it sounds like hentai.
Hentai? Huh. Go to the well if you want, real quick.
Again?
Do you have it written down there somewhere?
It's in, let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Turn to the teacher. Meditate, ready. Turn around is meditate. Begin by the teacher. Ready, hot, freeze, rest, relax. Nope. But
And
it's
is that what you
hentai.
meant? It's what?
Hentai.
Hentai?
Hentai.
Spell,
Sorry.
please.
Yeah, spell it.
Like
Spell it. Round eye.
H-A-N-T-A-I. Hentai.
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 Okay. All right. We'll roll with that. All right.
They
So,
live in O-Town.
hmm.
That's what they say in O-Town, is what she said.
As they say in O-Town, well then that's what we're going to say. Okay. And it just means the other side, or does it mean switch sides?
Okay, it was switch.
It would switch? Okay. All right. I'm time. All right, cool. So anyway, so back to it. You guys should share. So now you guys do that, and I will observe while I count. Come on. Switch. Knee. So. There you go. Shoot. Go. Switch. And tight. Look at that. I'm already using it. Switch. Knee. Good, B. Don't. Shoot. Go. Switch. All right. Good deal. Yeah, so that's for you, Drew. Yeah, that's something that's essentially, just black belt body change, and also really for you, B as well. It's just coming up. But what I want you to do is get that feeling that weight shift you're moving it out of the way or whatever, and then you're taking all that weight and you're just boom, putting it right in there, right? You see that, clearly in a couple of katas and whatnot, that parry, but putting it's kind of the counter for Piano Nigon, right? When you're kind of coming in and doing that thing, but you're just coming in and doing it this way. So you're still getting all that weight in, and this is a close-in technique. When you're doing this, have her next. When you're doing this as a technique and you're visualizing it in your at home or whatever it is, you're not putting it out there on somebody. You're putting it, right here on somebody, and you just come in their knee, or whatever, to break them over. See, the other one I had. So the other one that I wanted to work on is kind of the same thing of getting that hit coming in there is for your legs. You guys have heard me say stop kick before, right? Or you're familiar with the concept of a stop kick?
You say it.
Oh, well, I have.
I heard it.
Right. So there's two versions of the stop kick. Say.
I said yes, Sensei. Hi, Sensei.
So there's two versions of the stop kick. There's a forward stop kick, and there's a rear stop kick. Right. Really, it's more employed from in close, so that way you can use either foot. It does not matter. In this case, we're going to pretend, for some reason, someone is throwing a kick out, and you want to close the space. That's the only time I really use it, if I'm trying to close their space. So you hear you're minding your own business. You're coming up. They're coming up, and they're coming up with a front kick, or just any kind of kick like that, and you're going to bring your knee up just like we always do, because that's number one rule, right? But then you're just going to do like a thrust. So, and you're kicking. Your kick is really more or less in the bottom of your foot. I mean, you can aim with your heel or the ball of your foot, but right. For me, I visualize it in the middle of my foot, because ideally I'll be wearing shoes anyway, and it gives me a larger surface to catch with. If I try and catch it on this end, I might miss it. If I try and catch it on that end, I might miss it. Right? So the drill for this, but it's the same thing. You're not just stopping and kicking. One issue with this, counter to our system, is if you're trying to kick, so your head goes above your butt, you're just trying to use your body weight to kind of counter it. With this, I want your hips in place, so you're actually bringing those in and so it's coming in. You bring it in. So you really want to put it in there. Okay?
Hi, Sensei.
Into the eek stance. Come on, hips. Knee. Don't. Cheat. Good. Switch. Hips. Knee. Don't. Cheat. Good. And tight. See, look at it more. So remember, when you do it, don't let that head come back, right? Don't let it cock out too more. Don't try and power it out. Keep those hips and your head above your colleague on each one.
Hi, Sensei.
Right. Hips. Knee. Don't. There you go. Cheat. Go. Switch. B, bring your knee up just a little bit more when you're doing that. And I say that because you will probably be defending yourself against somebody who's bigger than you, and so their knee is going to be higher. You really want to try and catch as close to that knee as you really can. Okay? So it's, every kick starts the same way. You can still do that, right? Get that knee up. Come on, there. There you go. Knee. Stomp. Shoot. Go. There you go. Switch. Oakley dokley. Come on, man. We're cooking along here. None of these white belts to slow us down. We're just doing stuff. And having to translate for Canadians, you know. Yeah. Okay. So same thing. You're gonna come up. You're gonna bam, do that thing. Bring it back. Come down. Parry down. Boom, and then a lead strike, and then come back. Right. The line of ruffians coming up. You're gonna stop kick. Bam. Parry that. This hand is gonna be here. So your hands are still. That was the other thing that was kind of funny about what William Sensei was talking about protecting their center line and keeping their hands in close, because Judy, I was like, dude, I've been telling you that for years. Is keep those hands in. They're coming in. I mean, it could be like I say from the eek stance, like they've reached in or they swung or whatever, and you're blocking yourself up. You're protecting your head, whatever you want to do, and then bam, maybe just stopping their forward momentum, bam, and then clearing that hand out of the way, and then when that foot comes down, bam, you're hitting, and then back. All right.
That's why I liked what he said. And I used to do this in the previous life, but using that hand as a distraction up in the face. And we've done it a couple of times. Works really well for this. And then it's just right there, parry.
Yeah, because I'll move that hand in your way, and you're like, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we had that on a drill for for the sparring drills that we did at Hank and Chris's. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Miyashi Shudo. All right. So again, nice and slow. We'll do stop kick. Bam. Come in, parry down. When that weight drops, boom, strike. And then back. Knee. Bam. Don't. And remember, when you do that stop kick, don't stop kick and fall into it, right? Stop kick, bring it back up, you know, and then put it down.
Nice and safe.
Come on, I gotta go fast. Hits. Knee. So. Sheep. Time again. Go.
Too many moving parts.
And time. Nice and slow. Stop kick. Parry down. Strike. Come back. Knee. Stop kick. Recover. Parry. Strike. So. Fast. Hits. Knee. So. Shoot. Good. And for those of you playing the home game, you'll notice that looks kind of a little like a technique you might do in a kata.
Sarah's out.
Say again?
Sarah's out.
Fine. Well, she won't get a copy of this video. How about that? Well, hopefully she's going well. Hopefully she's busy working.
That's what she said. She said she's still working.
Good. Well, Sarah, if you're watching this at home later on the rebroadcast, congratulations. better to miss class because you've got your new job than to
Yep.
miss class because you can't afford your class.
Or because you're just weak and lazy.
Or because you're a weak tea.
You're all worthless and weak.
Yep.
Now drop and give me 20.
Oh. Ooh, let's see. That was the only ones I had. Kind of those. Is there anything you wanted to address? Hey, Bobby.
No, not really. I think for us, I guess especially for black belt, but for green belt on up, I think it's a lot more important to do those with the change body, you know. So instead of straight on, right, making sure that's one of the things I did appreciate about the workout, the Naha special, was that there was a lot of, you know, change body, right?
Yeah.
There seemed to be a lot more direct and bigger, but, you know, all of those techniques we worked just now, I think, you know, very small change bodies put you right in a place where you don't have to reach.
Right.
And all those techniques, you know, are right there. So doing that with change body makes them, I think, that much more valuable.
Right. You know, one of the things that he, when he was explaining the body change, and he was talking about the foot being in front, you know,
Right.
and he was talking about how, you know, you step up a little bit, and then, you know, that foot is still in front, you know, when he's talking about.
Right?
And I was trying to think of it because I'm sure it was Colton was having the problem with, you know, I'm sure he's thinking about, you know, if we've got to eat your knee, or,
Right.
you know, about going in about, you know, and doing a 90-degree turn, and they're doing like a 45-degree turn. But I also think their stance is a little bit longer than ours.
Right.
So, you know, they're kind of stepping up to our stance and then doing a body change.
Right.
And, you know, or they're stepping out and then coming out. Anyway, it was I do want to figure out some way to simulate that, you know, the triangle thing that everybody was doing for a while, and doing those stepping drills that Batson Sensei was all about, or that, remember that we did at the black belt workout with Chef Sensei?
Right. Right.
All the different. I need to go look at that video again and maybe just do those, because I think there's stuff there. That might be actually a better warm-up time is doing those stepping drills.
Hi, Sensei.
You know,
If you still have the notes from the Kama seminar,
yeah, you.
it has the change body footwork, just, you know,
Okay.
with
Perfect.
Kama. So it has the diagram and the order in which they went.
Oh, okay. I think that's what you'll be teaching on Thursday then, huh?
Right?
See how I did that?
Yep. Sure did.
Well, Tai Sabaki, that's what you'll be teaching on Thursday.
I heard that.
Cool.
I caught that.
Yeah, that's good. And just doing it for the cheap seats. So one of the things, does everyone know, you know, does everyone have a yoga mat at home?
No.
Specifically one of these thin ones. What I was doing that was, you know, I was kind of making kind of again, kind of like doing the Tushatsu or whatever, as, you know, that's exactly an arm length away, right? So that's as far as I want to get.
Right.
And it gives a little, you know, and whatnot, but it doesn't stay too good, and gives you an arm workout because you got to hold this out, right?
Right.
But you can also, you know, do that like he was, workouts like he was doing.
Right.
You can bring it around there and hook it with that thing. But then what I also ended up doing was I was doing Kote out there, right?
Right.
So I think I'm going to recommend people get one of these, because this is just another tool, and then you get your grip strength so you can do your Hojo Undo, but it's really lightweight. But it might be a good.
I do have a foam roller.
I was just thinking that, Senpai.
Yeah, you can use a foam roller, but I figure this is a multi-tool, right? You're like, I'm kind of like Alton Brown. Is like, I don't want a tool to just do one thing.
Right.
So with this, it's like, and then if you want to, you can do yoga on it. Anyway, I just thought it might be kind of a cool thing to show people, like, these things are a dime a dozen. You can get them in, like a yoga bomb went off in Austin.
Nice and take.
And we can get that going on. There was another thing that I wanted to mention. I just had it in my head and I can't remember what it was. Well, Dee, since you're standing there, have you thought of anything that you would like to see in the new year?
For the
No
year?
pressure. No pressure. If you can't see anything, if you don't have anything on deck, just.
I've thought about it in the 6 minutes that I've had this week to think, but
Well, you had the entire day off on Monday.
on Monday,
On Sunday, rather. Was it Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday.
Every day is Blur's Day.
yeah, Sunday I was busy wiping off dog feet all day.
Yeah.
Just Hayden, stop.
Yeah. You don't have one of those little foam cleaning things or the little silicone. You put them
No.
on and woo, wipe their hands.
You seen the size of my dogs?
Yes. Anyway. Well, Drew, you sent me some suggestions. Let's talk amongst ourselves as senior instructors and find out some of the stuff you want to.
So a couple of the things that I sent was, one, it's just kind of a little bit more esoteric in the effort to prepare or to promote unity and federation unity and keep that stuff going, like invite other instructors to, instruct our Zoom class so that we can continue to see different but same, and also pick up new techniques. So that was a good one. And, Thursday was a perfect example of that. I talked about perhaps doing more street gi kind of stuff with jackets, like bags or purses or backpacks, like stuff that we have to like see how it's different. Some of the things we did tonight about, just doing the basics more with change body, making that more of a focus, spending time on like, having some fairly concerted time to work on weapons, Kobudo, whether that is a split off room during class that rotates through, or whether or not we have maybe a separate class time after that coming up. We would have Friday nights, you'd have 45 minutes, a class of sparring, and then it was a 45-minute class of kata, and then a 45-minute class for Kobudo.
Mm-hmm.
So, because not everybody gets to work with Kobudo, depending on their rank, having a dedicated time to work on it, even if it's relatively short, would probably be helpful, at least to go through and learn stuff. I think that was the majority of it. But I don't know, there were 5 or 6. And also just having more discussions on history portions of that, as maybe even part of the test, federation stuff. So for those of us that have manuals, there's in the Kobudo section and the kata section and all that, there's little blurbs that Shipe Sensei has put together, and there's stuff that Sensei and history and this, that, and the other. Back when I was coming up in Kobayashi, like part of the brown belt test was actually part of the earlier test was knowing the family tree all the way back to, Iwa Sensei, way back when. And then as we went through, it was knowing terminology like we do, but also knowing history and being able to, talk about things about the dojo as part of the test. So,
I tell you what, I mean, this is not for nothing. I mean, I'm not the the greatest. I just learned how to say switch today in Japanese. But I had more than a couple of people who complimented us on our Japanese terminology. Just the fact that, for good or ill, we're using it, you know. And luckily, we have our resident language nerd, who you know. I think that's again, you know, so yeah, that cultural sort of angle of understanding why it happened and whatnot. Oh yeah, so for the street gi, that's actually a really good idea. Seeing how a lot of last year I was in street gi. But you know, one of the things that we talk about, like when I'm doing those self-defense drills and stuff like that, that's a really good idea. Is to go grab your, you know, your backpack or whatever, and you know, throw that over your shoulder. However you would be normally walking around with that, and then you have to do your basics with one arm. You know, with me, I'm probably gonna just drop it. But and that may be the first move, right? Is like, you know, each knee, you know, or hit them each knee or whatever, using that. That's actually not a bad idea. That's a kabuto opportunity sort of thing. Maybe along those lines, let's start thinking about, actually remind me at some point we need to get people to go like, you know, what do you normally have? Now, granted, we're not all leaving the house that much anymore. You know, like well, we were joking about the whole part of the self-defense now is to grab the mask.
Right.
So people come with a mask on, like, you know, pull their mask off.
Right.
And like, you know, there'll be a couple people that are like, yeah, or you go for your glasses. If they're wearing glasses, go for the glasses. But try and sort of, I guess, maybe go through your day and look at what's around you and try and figure out what you're normally going to have in your hand or at hand. And, you know, in case someone decides to do a home invasion, you know, and then you're there in your stand-up desk and I can grab my monitor and throw at them, you know, something like that.
But even so, even, you know, like, you know what you would have, like, if everything was normal, what you would, you know, go to work, right, and, you know what weight you have in it. Or if you were going out, like for me, I wouldn't be carrying a purse, but Bridget might be carrying a purse or a bag. You know, but even wearing a coat or a sweatshirt versus a gi with a belt is a whole different ball of wax. You get lapels, but the movements are restrictive, you know.
Yeah. Well, remember, I took those pictures a couple of years ago when we were in Santa Fe and we were in the snow and I was wearing my big jacket and I had my big boots on and I was doing kata out there because, like, you know, with the big boots, your feet don't flex, your ankle won't flex.
Right.
So it's, you know, to do a kick is kind of weird because that won't move. And then, yes, you know, everything's tightened up. And then I started doing like kabuto with the dog leashes and whatnot. But yeah, so
the alternative is also to do stuff in flip-flops, in slippers, right? Because that's a whole different ball of wax also.
Yeah. But there was on Netflix, there's a show that's like best stand-up of 2020. And there was a gal who was talking about flip-flops. She said, you know, they're the shoe of death. He says they're meant to go one way. They're only meant to go forward. Like you go backwards, you know, you die. And I was like, oh yeah, I know an entire state full of people who can run in slippers.
Hey, where's your slippers?
Exactly.
And it's like, if you don't know how to run in the slippers, and when you're in Hawaii, but yeah, that is a very good point. Again, you know, I've mentioned it lots of times about changing up your footwear and changing up your ground, you know, your footwork environment. That's a good idea about the guest instructors. I mean, how do you think we need to approach that? Just email people and say, hey, want to come teach our class?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? I mean, you know, find out if it's like, you know, if their class would conflict, you know, and maybe either not invite or we, you know, maybe try to do something on the weekend or whatever. But the idea would be, you know, or even, you know, again, Ben, who joins a lot, you know, have him teach, or, you know, Tony, when he shows up, you know, have him teach.
Yeah.
Pearson say.
Well, I've been, that's one of the things I told, your grand sensei, I was talking to him the other day and about Ben, and I said, yeah, I'm trying to get him, I mean, I don't think he teaches that much when he goes to Don's class, to sensei's class, because he leads.
Yeah.
And so, maybe that's the thing. And maybe I'll start doing that a requirement of, hey, if you're the guest instructor, if you're the guest, you got to teach, one class a month or something as you come in. Pay your way.
I mean, and teach, and like kind of like what you said with William Sensei, it's just like do the class like you would do the class.
Yeah.
Like don't say, well, how do you guys do it? No, do the class like you would do the class, right? Like Veon Sensei did, when he would teach. That's where we learned that the drill where you string everything together. It's like, hey, you do these things. Okay. It's not the way we do them. It's not the order we do them, but, now we know, right? And, so if we can get other folks to come join us, like not every time, but to just pop in, that helps us. And, maybe it helps them a little bit to, teach a different group with a different mix of people. I don't know.
Okay.
Or maybe even, if they maybe even, ask them to do something specific, teach us something specific the way they do. I don't know.
That's a very good, yeah, I mean, because again, like I was talking about at the New Year's class was, I thought that having these Zoom classes was a really cool sort of bringing us together as a federation-y kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Got to see people from all over, and we got to kind of train. Corey would come in, and I mean,
but I'm sorry, Sensei.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what we've done this far has been like, hey, we're having them. If you want to come along and train, feel free. And that worked when, everybody had to do it. And everybody's like, oh, hey, cool. Well, now they got their own thing. So if we asked them, invited them specifically, and, we know several of them have setups that they could do, right? Because they did it, 6 months ago or 9 months ago. Yeah. And just, join in with the class. That could be something that even when we go live, if we can get the Zoom stuff set up, we could still potentially have people show up at times that aren't in their class, their regular class schedule. So a specific invitation maybe goes a long way, as opposed to just posting like, hey, we're having class, come join. Right. It's more like, hey, would you teach my students, would you teach them this thing, or, run a class or something.
Okay. Yeah. I can send an email and just, like, hey, what do you, because we all have our thing, right? And then, like, well, what's your thing? Come teach us your thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Good deal. So you're saying you're bored with me, is basically what you're saying. That's fine. Okay, I understand.
It's not what I say, but that's what you inferred. So, I can't help with that, Sensei.
All right. I'm fragile.
Sensei Snowflake.
Yep, I am. They're right. So I think that would be kind of a cool thing. And so one of the things that I was talking over with Drew Doncher was maybe either doing one or two, and again, this is a fork off of what Wayne Sensei was doing, because he said he had class like from 6 to 7, right? No, 6:30 to 7:30, and then he has class from 7:30 to 8:30. So his 6:30 to 7:30 class is like the junior class, or the, and then the 7:30 to 8:30 is the advanced class, right? Just whatever. So he said, they don't really, everyone can come, or the seniors and everything can come to both classes, but the second hour of class is really like delineated, and this may approach what you're talking about the West class. And then, so yeah, I'm trying to figure out some way, like maybe doing like, maybe doing like we were doing, which is 8:30 is the end of the class, but there's that extra 30 minutes, and just say, okay, well, really the last like 45 minutes or whatever class is sort of the deeper dive class for you and for Drew and, bench and comedies here and whatever, and going, okay, let's work on our kata, let's work on our test requirements, let's work on whatever. And the front part of the class is a little more aimed towards, working the basics and stuff with the dirty white belts and whatnot.
I think that would probably be helpful for the junior ranks anyway, just because they don't have our requirements muddled in with what they're trying to learn in the basics. There's a lot of merit to that idea. I like that.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out how to format it so they don't get bored.
And that's what Van said he would do as well when he was doing the classes. Before he was back in the dojo, he would have the brown belt, Q ranks that 1, 2, beforehand, and then he would have black belts.
All right. And did he it was okay, white belts go away and now it's the black belts, or did he?
Yep.
All right.
They were only half-hour. I think they were only half-hour stints though, and the black belt usually ended up going longer than the half-hour.
Yeah, that's all it should. And then on top of that, maybe one of the things that I was thinking about doing was also then maybe also incorporating a class, for Kabuto, and say, okay, now we're just going to do, an hour class of Kabuto on, Saturday morning or something like that, or whatever. I've been trying to get geared up to get up in the morning. What time do you guys get started in the morning? What time do you guys get up and get?
On the weekend or during the day?
During the week.
During the week.
Yeah.
I get up at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Start work at 9.
Start work at 9. So you get to work at 8:50.
Yeah.
And then as doing a morning class, early morning, get up and just do some calisthenics and stuff, and kind of get the day going class. And I was toying with the idea of maybe putting out a link and saying hey, if I know you guys are going to be there at 7 o'clock, for a half hour, I'll get up and be there and, just do, that could be our warm-ups and do our calisthenics.
It's going to be a hard sell for me, I'd say.
Yeah, I figured. Of course, because you're up playing games all night.
No, but it's I would do a morning class, not early morning, but,
No.
9 or 10 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Before lunch or something like that. If we, when I was coming up with, in Kobayashi, the way that our dojo did it was we had classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And Monday classes were general classes, so they were, Ippon, Kumite, Kumite, or, whatever we wanted to work on, kicking drills, basics, whatever. Wednesdays, there was usually one class that was, focused on lower ranks, and one class that was more focused on upper ranks. And then Fridays, there were specific delineations of the classes. And then Saturday was essentially an open workout. Our sensei was there, for a while, and you could do whatever. And so, maybe it might be good, with 2 classes, and then if we had one on a Saturday to have some specific sort of structure. It's hey, in this class, we're going to focus on, kata. For this portion of the class, we're going to focus on kata, and we're going to focus on ippon. And, for this portion of the class, we're going to focus on, basics, and we're going to work on basics, and we're going to do some change body. For this portion of the class, or this class, we're going to do weapons, kobudo, that kind of stuff. And, have stuff that everybody can attend and learn and work out. And, people that want to get it all, they can stick around for all of it.
Yeah.
And for the higher in rank you get, the more it's required that you stick around for all of it if you want to work through all the stuff that, you need to get done,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out some way to work all that in. Yeah, I know we don't take Kabuto as much, and I know we don't deep dive on a lot of, stuff that we should do. So I'm trying to replicate that environment in the Matrix. So and keep it interesting. All right. Well, I'm gonna noodle on that a little bit. If you can think of anything else.
Another thing I just thought of was when we would do tests, we would have for each rank there was a set of 5 Ippon Kumite that we would do. And our Ippon Kumite also included things somewhat similar to TUI. They could include joint locks and stuff. But for every test, you had to come up with, like for your first test, for your test for yellow belt, you had to come up with one basic technique. You know, for your green belt, you had to come up with 2 techniques of your own that weren't, you know, that were beyond the basics to basically show application. We've done that a couple of times in some of the tests we've had before, where you've asked us like, hey, now, you know, come up with a bunkai for this or whatever. Or a basic based on the bunkai, something you just worked on. And, you know, so making that a more formalized part of the process to help people not only see how the kata applies for an Ippon type of scenario, but also to, you know, kind of get them thinking, you know, okay, I can apply this thing from this kata and this thing from that kata and come up with a technique that fits with the system and it fits at my rank. And it's not something that we do as basic. And then, you know, maybe we end up incorporating some dojo basics from the stuff that people come up with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. One thing that I brought up, I was talking with Bayon and she about the certified instructor program, about, you know, like getting people, he was talking about how like people are Sensei is posting stuff on the Facebook page, you know, just like, and like no one is commenting on anything because everyone's like afraid to comment on anything, apparently, because they think they're, you know, they're going to say something's wrong. Anyway, but one of the things that he and I were banning stuff back and forth, and I said, like, I think one of the things that I think is, and this is maybe apropos of nothing, but since you brought up testing, is to have like a question, like, you know, like anything, like, you know, high kicks are good. Why? And it's like completely like whatever, you know, what do you think about, you know, what do you think about high kicks? You know, you know, and then, you know, and then defend that, and then, but then flip the script on and go like, you know, why do you think, like, why is groundwork bad? You know, like they go into a jiu-jitsu person and go, why is, you know, whatever their statement is. So, you know, for the certified instructor thing, you know, there's an essay part, or there used to be, I guess. Maybe there's, I'm sure there's still like, you know, the essay part of like, you know, what's this, you know, and you need to explain what's going on. And basically what I was trying to get them was like fostering is like what I want you guys to do, and I think you guys do it pretty well. And what I think all martial arts students who are serious about it, you know, I know you've heard me use that phrase, thoughtful martial artist, before.
Right. And
thoughtful, why I mean that is not like, you know, you're caring for, you know, little birds and put them in the nest. Is like you're thinking about what you're doing. So even if your opinion is wrong, defend it, you know, and have the confidence in what you're because when you're talking it out, you're going to go like, oh, you know, that really doesn't make any sense, you know, or that's kind of counter to what we do, you know, that sort of thing. Because I think that's an important tool, you know, to hone your technique and kind of make your technique better. As you know, like when you're punching, you know, when you're doing that, you know, it's like the you know, that, you know, you've heard me make fun of style that, you know, do that waggle, you know, but you know, then my thesis is like, okay, well, defend the waggle, you know, why someone's doing that waggle for a reason. Why are they, you know, kind of like, why you just think about it, you know, like, well, you know, they're getting the hip rotation in there, and I'm sure, you know, someone was probably just over influencing it, and so they were really, you know, doing their kata, you know, or doing their basics and really getting it in there, you know, like, so defend that, you know, what's the reasoning behind it, you know, what do you think is the reasoning behind it, and if it's, you know, kind of, you know, so you can get some sort of depth on, like, you know, really what is the point of that, you know, what is the point of controlling our hara, what is the point of controlling our DQ, what is the point of, you know, all that, head above your butt, you know, and then go step down that. So, and going along with that part about the testing, I think is something that I also want to get back to is you know, bringing those questions out of, that's why I want to do the sort of lecture part at the end of classes. So that way there's that part of like, you know, here's something. And as part of that, maybe start making a little more homework of, you know, this is this, go look up why, you know, especially like for Colton and Sarah and stuff like that. Maybe not so much for you guys, but, you know, just like, you know, hey, you know, there's this concept, go read about that and explain it to me, you know, something that's rank appropriate. And you guys should be looking out for it well. So when you're leading in the class and you're teaching Sarah or Colton or anybody really, and, you know, there's a thing there that you think is kind of a key, something that they really need to be focusing on, make that a homework assignment and go like, you know, hey, look that up and, you know, think about that, or go, you know, find 3 examples of it in basics in your kata or something, you know, something like that. So that way they're thinking about it, but then you also have to think about it too, right? Because you have to go spot it out and you have to be looking for those. I think that's an important thing. Being a thoughtful martial artist, I think is super important. Okay, so forget about the morning class then. And I'll look at the other classes. Let's see. Yeah, I'll think of something about trying to, because I was trying to figure out a way to like remind people that, you know, we're still in class, we're still here, we're still online. So come join us. But that might be a good way of just letting the instructors know. I was like, hey, you know, if you do something, come teach it.
And bring some of your students to help demonstrate it.
And bring some of your students, right? You know, have them log in or whatever. Because I know Hank and Chris, they still have like the Zoom part of their class, but they're in the class. So maybe tell them to stick around after class and then just log in ours. Right. And Hank can teach us that karate face that he has.
Or we can just, you know, like we did last week, join them at their regular time for the Zoom portion, you know? Yeah.
I think their class is a little bit earlier, I think. But yeah, I mean,
okay.
I'd still like to, still be able to do that. And so, yeah, I'll try and put that on my list of emails to send out and get that going on. That's a good idea. And because everybody loves B, she went and visited everybody, and you went around, so.
Well, I was going to say, for those of us that don't have Facebook, which is me, if you could, you know, if there's, I don't know what dojo are still doing online classes.
I mean, exclusively us, I think.
Yeah, but you said that Hank and Chris are still doing the Zoom portion, even though they're in person.
Yeah.
Right? And Ader Sensei was doing classes. I don't know if he's doing that, you know, like Ben may know. I'll ask Ben next time I see him who's still doing online classes. I mean, I still get a calendar invite for Weapons Wednesday from Batson Sensei, but not for the other classes. But from what Sarah has said, like he does other classes online. So
yeah, I'll put them on Facebook maybe and just see who's still doing anything, and so we can come say hi in some way. That'd be kind of cool. The other thing I was going to bring up for people, those who didn't make a class, was just a kind of a general reminder of you know, I'm online all day. So, you know, if anybody wants to talk about anything, or, you know, like pop on a freaking quick Zoom lesson or a hangout or something, and, you know, hey, I'm thinking about this, ping me, you know, or just text me and ask me a question to, you know, we're all on Zoom, you know, we're all on conferences and stuff all day. So, I mean, it's easy enough just to pop up, you know, the Zoom class and go like, oh, hey, let's do Nahanchi, or let's do, you know, Nijushiho, or what, you know, whatever's going on. During the day, if something pops in your head, yell at me, because, you know, as long as I got a minute or two, we can talk about it and maybe walk through it, or do a quick video call and work that out. Or I can shoot a quick video and post it up there or something. It's all part of the service. Anyway, all right, I think we talked that to death. All right, so along those lines, yeah, think about a way to split the class up, or to, you know, a natural sort of, you know, because we can still also just leverage the rooms. The thing with me is it feels really weird So like, you know, like tonight, like if I said like, okay, let's work on kata. Okay, B, you're gonna go work on your kata, and then Drew, you're gonna work on your kata, and then like, then you know, there's the separate rooms that I gotta be in, you know, or is it better to be just like this, and you know, you're just gonna have to like deal with the fact that there's a little camera there that you know you can't pay attention to it. You guys are pretty good about not looking at the camera. You know, it's the white belts that are pretty good about it. But you know, being present in your so I mean, that's the kind of thing that you know now that we're almost a year down the line, I'm still grappling with this kind of stuff, and I want to make it worthwhile and feel like you're getting the attention you need and the instruction you need, but it's not disjointed or confusing. So anyway, just stuff to think about, I guess. All right, so I got some homework. Everybody's got some homework. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Yes.
Yeah, Sensei.
Right. So like now, so it's like 8:30. So like now, it like ordinarily we'd say, okay, got the half hour of class. I mean, do you think it's worthwhile to say, okay, a class is really going to go till 9? You know, is that because I mean I know you have Drew, you have a lot of stuff sometimes that you got to do, or is that worth it? Or
Yeah, it's worth it. I mean, the main thing is just, you know, usually some of the stuff I got to do, if it's not, you know, like some sort of release or something's not on fire, which, you know, hasn't been the case for a little bit of time, usually it's just getting dinner. So, I mean, I can wait till 9 to do that.
I know I should pass out. You're like, yeah.
Right.
You Paul Blart on me while you're, you know, in the middle of kata, you know.
Right.
All right, well, then.
I mean, I also can't speak for anybody else, but I'm also open to doing it before, you know, so starting at 6:30 instead of 7, you know.
Right.
But I'm not going to speak for anything else. But going till 9 is fine. If I know that's what we're going to do, I can plan accordingly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I'll reinstitute that, and then
Okay.
well, we'll see who takes it up on it, because I mean, it's gonna be the kind of thing where like then we really could sort of break up into rooms and say like, okay, you know, B wants to work on Sainidan, you know, and then you know, but you really want to do, you know, Nijishiho, and Colton wants to do, I don't know, work on Tootie or something like that. Like, okay, cool. Then we can break out into the rooms, really, if we want, and say like, okay, I'm gonna go, you know, cycle around. Or we can, you know, something like that. Yeah, we can figure that out. Yeah, you know, okay, Drew, take him in the room and work up for a minute. And that way it's kind of unfettered. It's not blocked in by anything, I guess.
I can say, and people can bail when they need to, and
yeah,
that
like,
official part of class is done.
Yeah, but it's not quite as distracting as being in the group. All right. Let's see if there's anything else I had in mind. Yeah, so as long as there's not a polar vortex moving in, what are you guys doing this weekend?
Nothing.
I don't know. I have to look at the calendar. What day is this weekend? There is zero on my calendar this weekend.
Say again?
There's nothing on my calendar yet.
Well, let me take a look at the weather and let's see if maybe we want to do a park class. What do you think?
If the weather's in any way, shape, or form amenable, I'm down for a park class.
Cool. Because yes, I think we need to get some more of those in. So that way we can Kabuto, B, see each other, C, get some sun. As long as it's not going to snow on us or get too cold and be dry. Yeah, I mean, and the other thing is, if we don't want to meet at the park, we could always meet, like, you know, in the front yard or something. But I think, you know,
Saturday is supposed to be a high of 63, so and sunny.
Oh, those are all good words. All right, so let's put a tentative pin on this, because this is Martin Luther King weekend, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna have Monday off anyway. So yeah, maybe we'll do that and get together. Thusly. Cool. All right, let's look at that. All right. Yeah, sorry guys. I know we didn't get a big, huge work in tonight. But one thing I don't stress as much with you guys is because you know how to put that, put the emphasis on your techniques, and I think that's a super important technique thing for us as martial artists is to get that good focus in of like I'm gonna hit that here's my focus is here, and so I don't have to do 10 reps of it because I'm getting one good I'm getting the good technique, good clean technique when you're doing it. I think it's really important doing it here is one of the things that I probably should have said at the class last week is because if your technique is good and focused, it really comes across. When you guys have a really good clean technique, which you always do, but when you have an even more really good clean technique, it really shows out on the camera. Like you can really see it. So I think that's one of the good things. So this is for you as when you're leading class or doing whatever, both saying it out loud and being very clear about what you're doing, which I almost never do, but just having that good clean technique, it really pops on a camera when you're doing it. So
Excellent.
so slow as smooth, smooth as fast really pays out really well. Okay, so I've got my homework. We'll look at the time thing. So on Thursday, remind me to tell everybody to try and start warming up before class.
Hey.
So then next week we will, when we warm up, we'll just do like an abbreviated, maybe like 5 reps of everything, and right into the basics. Okay. And see how everyone feels about that. See if anyone pulls anything or whatever. Yeah. So we'll do that, and then we'll start incorporating some of the other stuff going on. And then again, yes, just for if you have any more homework items, let me know. If you haven't sent me an email on your entrance criteria for dojo training, please do. Let me know. And again, like I say, it doesn't need to be a political screed of rights or anything. It's just, if you're totally cool with it, you could go in tomorrow and start working out. Just say, I'm fine with whatever. But if it's like I guess for me, it's like that is, I would feel comfortable, being in the room with someone without the mask on and not touching. But, I guess probably legally, my family has to be comfortable with it as well as me, and so I've got to, I've got to, like say, I got to talk to the studio owner and find out, what they're doing to secure that area, because we can't, right? And I got to feel confident about that before we do anything. And that's the kind of thing for me. It's like just for me, the level of confidence for me and you guys is that they are taking care of that space, and so they've got to. What's that?
There's not a good history of that. The women's locker room, just in the short time we were there, it was already gross.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's a lot of surfaces in there, and there's a lot of sweat and huffing and breathing, and it's like, so I can't imagine that they're doing a whole lot of wax on, wax offing in there. So I mean, so that's the kind of thing. It's like, would the studio have deep cleaning by a professional cleaning service every week? That's the kind of thing, that would, like, what would make you feel comfortable? I can't say it's going to happen. I can't say that I can secure that. I can't say it's, whatever, but just, that sort of thing. And it might just give me some bullet points to like throw at them, and it may come to the point where we just, tell them like, look, you know what? We'll just put up, you dirty Chinese, you put a pin in it. We'll come back in like 6 months and then just, grab our stuff and come out of there and just hope that, they're still there. It's a thing. Anyway, I appreciate you guys' insights and your patience and whatnot. Good little workout. It's nice. And also, along with, if you want to come up with some drills and like little stuff like that, that's like literally what I was just, from the class on Thursday, and then just some stuff I wanted to work on. I really enjoyed that stop kick. I really like those. So, and that works really well with the body change. If you guys got any drills when you're leading basic Judansha or when you're leading basic, if you want to throw one of those in there, that's cool.
That's insane.
Hey,
Keeps it interesting. All right, Judansha, take us home.
はい、先生。気をつけ。後ろ回って右ギと帯直す。はい。正面。先生に礼。どうもありがとうございます、先生。
Hey, どうもありがとうございました。
先生に礼。さよなら、先生。
Sayonara, guys. Thank you very much. And then,
Hey.
so we need to figure out the the online Judansha. That was the homework. We talked about that, right? We need to figure out.
Well, so the highest ranking Q rank, since there's no other black belts, would be senpai.
Right. And then she would have to say, Judansha, she could say Mudansha and Kohai all at once.
Right.
That's it. So yeah, we need to kind of, Ben's technically senior, so I mean, we need to. You're a senpai of the dojo, but he's technically senior, so we need to make sure that he's feeling the love, as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's work on some of that stuff and get that going, and we'll do class on Thursday, and we will try and warm up. Of course, that'll be the day where I can't, warm up or something before class. I won't have any time. I can pull something.
Nice, sensei.
All right, guys.